Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of What Nintendo Power Said Then, and What I Say Now. I'm going to cut this episode short with only 2 games. The only 2 games I'm going to be talking about are Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo and The Flintstones for the Game Boy. So, without further ado, let's begin with The Flintstones for Game Boy. So let's look at Nintendo Power, Volume 73. And here's what they said. First, the article. Ocean's Game Boy version of the Flintstones, which is based on the live-action movie, presents the prehistoric town of Bedrock as a town filled with teddy bears and unidentifiable and unfriendly dinosaurs. Each side-scrolling stage pits either Fred or Barney against typical platform foes while they collect objects for points. Don't expect much in the way of story. Fred must make his way home after a hard day at the quarry, or Barney must find Bam Bam. Long stages wind up with a battle against a big boss. Between action stages, you'll get a chance to win bonus points in simple puzzle games like Bam Bam's Cracks and Crosses, which is really tic-tac-toe. If you want a challenge, you probably won't want this game, but if you want a decent little action romp that won't strain your brain or thumb, you might take a look. And here's what they said on the plus side and minus side. Good graphics, simple play, but lots of it for younger gamers. Select extra lives and continues. Very slow action and limited play control. So here's what I say now about Flintstones for Game Boy. The action is not very slow. The speed of the action is actually normal, in my opinion. And I wouldn't say that the play control is limited. And the way the article explained the game in that Nintendo Power volume, it made it sound like the game randomly started with you playing as either Fred or as Barney. At least that's my opinion about the article. But really, the game's not like that at all. I mean, you always start the game off with Fred, and then later on you play as Barney. But of course, those aren't the only 2 characters you play as. There's also Wilma and Betty. But anyway, that's all I really have to say about Flintstones for Game Boy. So now let's talk about the second and final game for this episode, Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo. Alrighty, here's Nintendo Power, Volume 94. Let's start off with the article. Here's the article. If you think milk and eggs come from cartons, then you might learn a thing or two from Natsume's unique RPG/simulation called Harvest Moon. Imagine that you are a young farmer just getting started. You want to raise crops, make money, woo a young woman, and start a family. That's a tall order to fill, even in the best of circumstances. But in Harvest Moon, you have just 2 years in which to make your dreams come true. On most days, you'll rise with the sun, slave in your fields and woods until dusk, then crash. But on special days, you'll head into town, hang out, buy supplies, animals, seed, etc., and go to festivals. Much of the game involves tasks such as watering crops or cutting down trees, but part of the fun comes from seeing how this work pays off. With a limited time to accomplish all of your goals, you must focus on your efficiency. The courtship element of the game reflects the disproportionate percentage of video gamers who are male. There's no gender option. Harvest Moon may sound a lot like PC simulations like Maxis's Sim Farm, but the RPG element really adds something. This is not an economic sim, but rather a race against time. The weather, your own learning curve, and events. If you succeed, with a little help from this month's Epic Center review, you could become the Lord of the Manor. That's the article. Here's what they said on the plus side. Involving task-oriented play. Fun hidden stuff. And now, the most untrue thing they said on the minus side. Definitely not for action fans. So here's what I have to say about Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo. The game is so for action fans. I mean, I'm an action fan and I love that game. Lots of gamers who love action games love Harvest Moon. One thing that should have been said on the minus side was the fact that the days go by fast in the game. It's the only true flaw to the game. I mean, I know it's the first Harvest Moon game ever. Natsume wasn't quite thinking perfectly straight. But hey, sometimes you gotta comment about that sort of flaw in the game. But that being said, that's all I have to say about Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo. And that's it for this episode of What Nintendo Power Said Then and What I Say Now. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. If you have anything you'd like to say, then leave a comment below in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to. And don't forget to hit the notification bell as well. Have yourselves a happy new year. See you all in 2019. And remember, when playing video games, always play with power.